kids. Good to be with you. I'm glad you're joining me again, wherever you are, at home and with your family. And today we continue our series. This month we've been talking about unbelievable, the miracles of Jesus. We've looked at 2 so far, and today we will look at another one. But before we get there, how many of you know what a Yeti is? Have you ever heard of a Yeti? Maybe you've heard of Bigfoot or Sasquatch. It's this mythical creature, right? Probably not a real thing. There's a cartoon about a Yeti. Check out this picture of Yeti in a movie called Smallfoot. He's a pretty amazing mythical character, pretty unbelievable, right? This month, as we talk about unbelievable things, we've mentioned unicorns and dragons, I think, and now we're talking about the Yeti, all these unbelievable things, these mythical things. But one of the things that we're also talking about is the unbelievable, like, wow, that's amazing miracles of Jesus that are true. So before we look at our third miracle, we're going to play a couple games. And the first game is called Yeti Hands. For Yeti Hands, you're gonna need some big gloves. Oven mitts would be probably pretty hard. You could get some big snow gloves or any type of gloves you have laying around. Then you're also gonna need some blocks. I have a whole box of blocks down here. As many blocks as you want. Then you can compete with your family, or your siblings, or you can have teams if you want. Everybody get your big gloves, your big Yeti hands, and set a timer and build the biggest tower you can.
With your Yeti hands. This is actually harder than I expected it to be. And anyway, there you go, Yeti hands!
I hope you had fun playing Yeti Hands, and now I have one more game for you. 2 games, right? That's exciting. If you want to play this one right now and just do all the games right away, go ahead. If you want to wait, you can play this game later. This is a pretty fun game, I think, so maybe if you wait, you could really get into it. This game is the Cracker Candle Race. Cracker Candle Race, say that fast. I have pretzels, but you could use Ritz crackers or saltine crackers, any kind of dry, crunchy food. And the reason we're gonna play this game is just to help us start thinking about food, because today's miracle, Jesus does with food. It's an amazing miracle. You've probably heard the story, but we're gonna look at it again. So the game goes like this. You're gonna get your food, and then you're gonna have, so if I was competing against someone, I'd have my food, they would have their food, and both people will need a candle. And to start the game, your opponent over here, so I don't have an opponent. Let's just pretend my hedgehog, who's always with me, is my opponent. The hedgehog has his candle and his pretzel. Okay, that's fun. And I have my pretzels and my candle. Now, this goes in the middle. You have to see who can finish their snacks first, but you can only eat your snacks when your candle is lit. So you can choose to be eating, or you can also choose to blow out the other person's candle. What you cannot do is blow out their candle if the person has to relight it. Now you can see, this could get a little crazy, could get a little messy if you have a mouthful of dry crackers and you decide at that point you really want to blow out the candle. So let's see how this would work. Oh, very dry. Oh boy, messy. Okay, have fun playing Candle Cracker Race. I had to take a little break there and drink some water. That's a lot of pretzels, but I think that was a pretty fun game. I don't know about you. We have come to our big idea for today. And today's big idea is Jesus can provide for our needs. And not only Jesus can provide for our needs, but Jesus does provide for our needs. This is an amazing miracle we're going to read about. I want you to look it up in a minute. It's in Matthew 14, verses 13 through 21. We're going to look it up in a minute. But this miracle is interesting because Jesus takes a small amount of food and he feeds thousands of people. And there's actually a version of the story in John, if you want to look at it, chapter 6, verse 9. And in that story, in that telling of the story, Jesus actually gets the food from a young boy, from a little kid, from a child, basically. So like any one of you, giving to Jesus, and then Jesus using that gift, so a little bit of bread and fish, to feed thousands and thousands of people. And the question is, what does this teach us about what God is like? What does this teach us about what Jesus is like? And one of the things, and hopefully you'll discuss more with your family, one of the things is that God cares about our needs. Jesus cares about our needs, wants to take care of us and bless us in that way. Part of your conversation may be talking about how God has provided for you, or how you've seen God provide for others, or possibly how God might use you, like the little boy, to help care for other people's needs. So go ahead now and look up Matthew 14, verses 13 through 21, and if you'd like, use the discussion guide on the website. Hopefully you had a great discussion. I was looking at this and realizing that reading verse 20 says, they all ate and were satisfied, and the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces that were left over. Have you ever had leftovers after dinner some night? Leftovers are great. Have you ever wondered why there were leftovers in this story? He's feeding thousands of people. He must have known. He probably could have provided exactly what was needed, or just the right amount, but they gathered up all the leftovers. Nothing was going to be wasted. And I wonder if there's a few things we can think about in this story, and that is that Jesus provides for our needs, but also here it says they were satisfied. I wonder if they were not only satisfied, but grateful and so thankful for what Jesus had given them. And then also, those leftovers make me think about how sometimes we have more than enough. And what we do with that, or what can we do with that? And I think one of the things we can do is we can bless others. Bless others specifically who have needs, or might need some loving kindness offered to them. And that leads to our final activity. And our final activity is simply a challenge or an encouragement, I suppose, for you to do something as a family to extend, to multiply bread. Maybe you make bread. Maybe you make a loaf of bread or a couple loaves and you have some, but you also give another one away. It could be any kind of bread, banana bread, or whatever kind of bread you like, or muffins. It could be muffins or cupcakes, but it doesn't have to be food. We are talking about a miracle that involved food, but you could make a whole variety of things. And using what God has given you and provided for you, using those things and sharing that, blessing someone else with what God has given to you. So that is the final activity, the final challenge or encouragement for you to do this week as we think about how Jesus cares for and provides for our needs, and how we can be grateful and satisfied by that, but also in the abundance that we often have, sharing that blessing with others. Great to be with you, kids. I hope you have a great week, and grace and peace be with you.